Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you all here. So this morning, even right up till this morning, I was really thinking about what am I going to share today? What's really in my heart? What is alive inside of me that I really want to convey to you all? More than kind of like a written, prepackaged kind of thing. So we're going to go with the Spirit today and see what comes up. But I want to preface by saying Reverend Dunkley has really been emphasizing like new wineskins, right? Let's empty ourselves of our concepts and really be ready to receive new understanding, right? So we're going to test that today with the title of my sermon, which may be a little shocking for some people. The title of today's sermon is, "It's Not About True Parents." So, I've been part of the morning hundoke that New Jersey Family Church offers to people. And I've been noticing this theme that comes up a lot as our members are gathering and we're kind of there's been a lot of praise for true parents. A lot of wow, true parents are the most special people in the world, in God's providence. And I want to invite you all, not that that's wrong, but let's shift our perspective just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Because the danger in really kind of praising true parents in that way is that we lose the understanding of ourselves also. And when you think about it, that's not actually what Father and Mother Moon, who founded this belief system, this movement, that's not actually what they want. It's not for us to say we are lower or worse than them. It's actually that through their teachings, we can understand a truer understanding of our value, of who we are, of who is God in my life. Who did God create me to be? And there's a distinction in that because it's not just about true parents. It's actually because of true parents. And there's a key distinction there because there is an element that is rooted in me, in my life. What I'm realizing on my spiritual journey is that my understanding of who Father and Mother Moon are, who our founders, the people who we call with so much love and reverence true parents, my understanding of who they are is only as far as I understand who I am, actually. Who God really wants me to be. And the deeper I go in understanding that within myself, who am I? Who is Nancy Makita Jubb, my maiden name? Who is Nancy Hyungyung, Hyunju, Makita, Jubb, who am I? Who did God make me to be? Why is that important? Because if we truly believe that true parents are the Messiah, which I think most of us here, we believe that, yes? Yeah? Maybe we have some new people here in the audience, and then maybe this is a little shocking to hear. But what does that mean, the Messiah? Why do we need a Messiah? It's not to rescue me from being a bad person. No. It's for me to know God. Every civilization, every culture, every religion has a story about how we lost the divine. We lost a connection with the divine. And when we lost that, we lost an understanding of our value. Humanity, I think we can confidently say that humanity has really had a hard time understanding the value of life, right? That's why you go back to the dawn of time and everybody's killing each other. There's no value to life, right? But as we started to evolve and understand the value of life, it's like, oh, I can't kill this other person, right? That evolution is trying to find the divine. And then suddenly, there's the Old Testament era where like everybody's killing each other, right? There's other tribes are trying to kill you. Nature will kill you. Even God will kill you if you don't follow all of the commandments, right? But then here comes Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who says, God is not your Lord and Master. God is your Father. People are like, what? What are you talking about? My Father? What? But that understanding of an intimate relationship with God is what changed the world, right? And then here comes Reverend Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, and they're saying, I think it was like in the 1990s, Father Moon announced the completed testament age, right? That we're no longer praying in the name of someone else. We are reporting directly to God. Why? Why? To realize that we are God's sons and daughters. We have to realize this truth within ourselves. And so, the purpose of a Messiah is to teach us to understand who we are as God's sons and daughters. Now, they can give us tools. They can show us an example through their life, right? But it's up to us to really understand what that means for me, because our journey is each going to be very unique in the same way that you as a person are unique. Right? I can confidently say Takino-san's strength is like determination, right? Does anyone disagree with me? Everyone agrees, yeah? Yeah. That is his power. Is like when he sets his mind, there is nothing that can get in his way, right? And that is unique in his personality. That is something that I can learn from him. What's my personality is I'm emotional. I ride those highs, but I ride those lows too. And I'm learning to embrace that it's not wrong, but it's the direction with which I use those talents and abilities, right? That those moments when I'm in my deep lows, oh, that's that suffering, instead of trying to run away from that pain, that's a moment when I can practice God's love. When I can practice the divine heavenly parent's love to myself. I can model that, I can practice it. And that is what it means to start to become one with God. That is the gift that Father and Mother Moon have given to us. It's not follow me, do everything that I say, copy everything that I do. That's like a child's level of understanding. And that time period is necessary. That's why in our culture there's an emphasis on absolute obedience. Absolute obedience is not just mindlessly follow me forever. Actually, if we only follow true parents, if we only just kind of mindlessly follow, then we are undermining their very purpose. Because how can I really know God if I don't take responsibility, right? So just doing because I've been asked to do, that's kind of a child's level. And to really get to grow up, we have to really start to ask ourselves, what do I need to do? What can I offer? How can I take initiative and give back, right? It's not waiting to be told what to do. So I'm going to go back to a quote that Father Moon gave in a speech in 1990 called The Fundamentals of Truth. With respect to the relationship between Buddha and his disciples, or if you were to ask Jesus, what do you desire of believers? They wouldn't say, I wish them to work as my servants for generations to come, would they? Christian ministers and prayers say that they are servants of God. Why do they offer such prayers? Are they satisfied only to be servants of God? Above the servant are the adopted son, the stepson, and the son of direct lineage. Since you recognize 3 stages through which to climb from being a servant to being his son or daughter, all other things being equal, wouldn't you just want to establish yourself as his son or daughter? Would you opt for being his servant? Now, he was talking about disciples of other religions, but I think this applies to us as well, right? The world looks at the Unification Church, and the running story in the media and what other people think of us is that we don't think, we just follow and worship. Oh, we bow down, you know? So we have to ask ourselves, is that what we're really doing? Is what I'm doing helping me to really understand who I am? Yes, we need to own it. Own it. And that looks different from just following. So what do we do to really know our value, to know ourselves, to know what God is asking of us? Well, if you really want to know who God is, right? I'm going to pull out this quote from the exposition of the divine principle. Just as a work of art displays the invisible nature of its maker in a concrete form, everything in the created universe is a substantial manifestation of some quality of the Creator's invisible divine nature. So from the divine principle, those of you who have studied it, we believe that the creation is created in symbol of God's divine essence, right? But human beings are created in what? Image. And so where do you think a richer understanding of God lies? In creation or in people? And even though we might be fallen human beings that are detached from God, we still come from God. God still made each and every one of us. And so rather than focusing on all of the bad and the horrible things, the things we don't like, the things that we're ashamed of, the things that we're afraid of, let's look for the divine within ourselves. Now, that's not easy. And actually, Father and Mother Moon have really modeled for us what that looks like. I want to try a little experiment with you guys. I want you to really understand what we possess within us, all right? So everybody, please close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you to slowly and silently count to 5. Now, keep your eyes closed. Do that again and see if you can feel or find where in the body the counting is happening. Okay, keep your eyes closed. And now, I want you to count again, but see if you can find the me that is doing the counting. Where is the me that is counting? Okay, and one last time, keep your eyes closed. You're going to count again, and this time, where is the me, the I, the witness, the observer of that experience of counting? Try it to see where is the me that is experiencing it. Okay, now open your eyes. When I first did that exercise, I was like, sorry, I'm going to try really hard not to swear. Holy crap. There is a whole universe inside of me. Like a cosmos. And we're not even aware of it most of the time because we're so focused on physical things, what's going on in my life, all of this stuff. There's a whole cosmos within me. God created that. And so if we really believe that we are created in the image of God, then we really have to get to know myself. In New Age spiritual terminology, this is called self-awareness. We have to develop self-awareness. Really, really dig deep. When we learn about ourselves, it helps us actually to connect with others. When we dive deep into our pain, when we bring it out, when we heal it, we can hold more space for other people. So this is why we need prayer. But not just prayer. I invite you, if you're curious, also to try to develop a meditation practice. This morning in our Hundoke reading, in our scriptural reading this morning of Mother Moon's autobiography, she said, every day I pray and meditate. And meditate. Prayer is in like an active voice, right? We're like talking to God. We're engaging with God, right? But sometimes we also need to take time to quiet our mind and really go deep within ourselves. That helps us to really embody the understandings. That things that we're learning don't just get trapped up here, but it starts to sink in more deeply. So we have to learn about ourselves. We have to learn the scriptures and the teachings of Father and Mother Moon, but then we have to put it into practice, right? Because without the experience, you can fill your head with as much knowledge as possible, as much, learning as you want, but it doesn't mean anything. Your life doesn't change because you don't put it into practice, right? But that's hard. It's hard, right? My 6-year-old daughter, who just graduated kindergarten and she's going into first grade, she's like learning how to write, and it's like, I feel uncomfortable watching her practice writing, right? She can look at the letters as much as she wants, but without writing those letters, no matter how uncomfortable it is, she has to put in the time and the practice, right? But then at the same time, we have this tendency when we start to try new things to practice, and then it doesn't work out, especially the older we become, we're like, I'm not gonna even bother with that. Right? I see that in my sister who, my sisters and I were all in our 30s now, late 30s, and, one of them is like, oh my God, another social media account, forget it. Like, I'm not learning a new thing, I just got the handle of this other thing, right? Because why? Because the learning is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. So rather than kind of giving up or being so harsh on myself, oh, I did this, I'm trying to do like a 40-day wake up early condition and I couldn't do it. Oh, I just scrapped the whole thing. No. Give yourself compassion. Practice God's love to you. Do you think that God, as your heavenly parent, is going to be like, well, you did a crap job, I can't take it now? No. So why should we talk to ourselves that way? We have to practice the voice of God in my mind and heart. Okay, Nancy, you couldn't get up this morning, but that's okay. It sucks, and it's disappointing, but it's okay. Just when you're ready, start again. When you're ready, start again. And this is something that I learned through meditation practice, because can I see a show of hands? How many of you guys have tried meditation before? Yeah? It's hard. It's really hard, right? We think that we have to sit in quietness and like get rid of all of our thoughts. But actually, that's not real meditation. It's not to get rid of your thoughts. It's not the absence of thoughts. It's the practice of acknowledging. Acknowledge. Oh, I'm thinking again. Come back to my breath. Oh, lost my got on the train of thinking. Come back to my breath. And it's this practice of acknowledge without judgment, without saying, oh, why can't I do this? Just, okay, start again. Okay, start again. Oh, I fell asleep. It's okay, start again. This is an act of practicing God's love. So an interesting fact, I was listening to an interview with Dr. Ron Siegel, who's an assistant professor at Harvard Medical School, and he once stated that no programs for children to improve their self-esteem have really actually been effective in kind of helping children to lead happier lives. So like teaching kids to be more proud of themselves hasn't actually benefited them in the long run. And actually, you know what the thing that actually does benefit, that does help your happiness in the long run? It's practicing self-compassion, teaching children self-compassion, modeling to them that parents love, that parents love. And I want to say that learning about ourselves, there's kind of this misunderstanding of like, there's this theme that comes up as you kind of dig deep into the spiritual journey. I mean, at least in New Age self-help, right? And it's like, what's resonating for you? But I want to state a caveat. It's not just, there's a big difference between do what I feel like, right? Which is a little bit, it's a hedonistic way of thinking. Oh, whatever I feel like doing, that's what I'm going to do. But have you ever noticed that a lot of what we feel like doing is actually it's a practice of running away from uncomfortable, right? If I make a lot of money, then all my problems will go away. If I win the lottery, I don't have any more worries. Wrong. There was a study done of the happiness of paraplegics and lottery winners to find out who was happier at like 1 year after those events occurred. Does anyone want to guess who was happier? Actually, neither of them. They were both equal in terms of how happy they were. So it's not these desires of like wealth or these things outside of us that determine our happiness, actually. It's not chasing what I feel like, but we have to understand, why am I chasing that thing? Why am I chasing that thing? Why? There's a really famous method developed by the founder of Toyota Industries back in 1930. He developed the 5 whys method to really get to the root of problems. Sometimes we ask, why did this happen? And then we kind of stick at like a surface level understanding, but it's surface. That's not the root. So you got to ask why 4 more times to really get to the root. That's what we have to do with ourselves. Why do I desire this thing? Why is this person annoying me so much? Why are they making me so angry, right? And then through self-awareness, we can break the patterns. That's something so precious that Father and Mother Moon taught us, actually, is to break patterns. Break the patterns of what society expects of you. Break the patterns of what you think you're supposed to do. Break those things so you can have a new understanding. Just another example is just yesterday, our kids were coming back from Camp Aurora and they caught a ride with another family. And my husband came into the kitchen and he kind of was like, oh, I'm kind of worried about like the parent who's driving, because like, did they drive up today or did they drive up last night? Like, how tired are they going to be? And they're going to have a van full of kids. And he was getting kind of worked up. And I immediately like snapped at him and I was like, oh my God, it's fine. Like, ask them. Ask them. I don't know if they slept. I don't know what time they left. You can text them and ask. And he was so hurt by my reaction. And I realized, oh, I snapped at him because I felt that he was expecting me to solve his problems. But that's not actually what he came to do. He was trying to share his heart. And instead of me understanding that he's trying to share his heart, I'm like, oh my God, I can't fix your problems. Like, why are you dumping this on me? And I reacted. But I had to ask myself, where did this reaction come from? Why did I snap at him? Why? Oh, because I thought he was dumping his problems on me, but that's not what the reality of the situation was. And so then I went and I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have snapped at you that way. I completely misunderstood what you were asking of me by sharing those feelings, you know? But that only comes from practicing self-awareness, practicing understanding ourselves, where our pain comes from. This is why Father and Mother Moon say, don't avoid suffering, don't avoid pain, because it teaches us something about ourselves. And then, so just to kind of sum everything up, why does this matter? Why does it matter for me to really understand who I am? When you start to come into the fullness of your true self, the way that God intended for you to be, not this series of experiences where I'm just reacting without thinking, I'm just going with the flow mindlessly. But when we start to live really intentionally who I am and who I want to be, my best, truest self, then that is the best testament and testimony to who Father and Mother Moon truly are. Because people, it's not about going out into the world and it's not about just talk about them. Because that was their life, their course. What does that mean in my life? Well, how did it change me? That's what people want to know. That's what people want to see. Because what we understand from the teachings we received and how we practice it and how it changed my life, that's the fruit. Then people are going to be like, oh, damn, I want to be like that. I want to understand myself better. I want to really know who God is, who I am. We're all searching for purpose and meaning. That is happiness. So it's not about true parents. It's not about them. My life, I have to live my life. When I die, I'm gonna die. They're not gonna be waiting, standing there in front of God. It's gonna be me standing there in front of God talking about what did I do with my life. That's what true parents want for us. That's why they call themselves true parents. Parents, because we as children are to grow into full adult human beings in the love of God. And when you've tasted that love, when you've tasted it, I can't say that I'm a perfect person. I am not a perfect person. But I can say that I have tasted that knowing, tasted that experience. And it made my understanding of true parents' words richer and deeper because it helps me understand me and what God is asking of me in my life. And then I feel that love and I'm standing up here, and that's what led me to ask to be an assistant pastor, to stand up here and to share this with you guys, because I want you to taste that. I want you to know how important you are. True parents cannot be true parents without you, without me, without each and every one of us. Can parents be parents without children? Not followers. Your value, do not throw away your value. You are who God is longing for. You are who true parents are desperate to really know that love. And when you know that love, you're like, oh my God, I want everyone to know this. I want everyone to know this love. I want the whole world to feel it. That is witnessing. That's witnessing. So, as we empty ourselves of the old wine, let's shift our perspective just a little bit. That true parents definitely have infinite value, but so do I. Can I feel it? How can I feel it? This is what we need to ask ourselves. Thank you.